Hi there, my name's David, and Colin has asked me to come up with 5 tips to help you going through a period of depression, particularly when life is so hard as it is at the moment with the COVID and the lockdown and us being isolated from one another. So, here are my 5 tips to try and help you through depression. The first tip is accept it. That may sound obvious, but actually, as I know, as you know, we like to feel that we're superhuman. We like to feel that we are able to cope with life's difficulties. But actually, we're all of us susceptible to feeling depressed, to feeling anxious. And it's bad enough without adding to it the guilt, feeling that we're weak. Let me give you an example. Imagine that you were a climber and you were climbing, but you fell and you landed and broke your leg. You're in hospital. You came out of hospital. People wouldn't say to you, "Oh, that's very weak. You really shouldn't have let your leg be broken." People would feel sorry for you, and they would understand that you are now in pain. They would understand that you needed to have time to get better, and you would get help. So accept it, because when you fully accept that you're broken, when you fully accept that you're in a place that you can't get out of yourself, it's at that moment when the healing can actually start to begin. So tip number 1, accept it. Tip number 2, stop thinking. Now, we can't stop thinking completely, but let me give you another example. Imagine you were still that climber with your broken leg and you were sat down thinking to yourself, I need to get better. I need to get my way out of this. I know what I'll do. I'll get up and I'll go for a big long run on this broken leg and that'll fix it. Now, it sounds stupid, doesn't it? And yet, for those of us that have problems with thoughts whizzing round our head, that's the way we act, as if we can think our way out of the situation we're in. And you can't. You cannot think your way out of this. And thoughts aren't facts. They're just thoughts, and they're flying around our mind. Some people call it a monkey mind. We go from one thought to another. And when we're thinking, if you're able to ask yourself this question, is this thought I'm just about to have, or is this thought I'm having right now, is it useful? Because if it's useful, that's fine. But most of our thoughts when we're going through these problems tend to be very negative and very unhelpful. So if you ask yourself, is this thought useful? And the answer is no, then just wave it goodbye and stop having it. It's hard, it takes practice, but that's what I mean about stop thinking. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3, try to go at nature's pace. Life is in such a flurry. Even through lockdown, we're still being encouraged to dash around. We're still being encouraged to do things, achieve things in a difficult situation. See if you can get outside into nature. It may be just the garden. It may be you can go to a local park, a nearby park. It may be that you can get right out into the countryside, into some woods, into some trees. And if you can do that, just stop and watch the speed at which nature goes. It's a much slower speed. It's a much slower pace. It's not being hurried. Nature doesn't hurry. We were designed to live at nature's pace, not at the crazy pace that we go at right now, the expectations that are placed on us. And if you can get out into nature and sort of be in tune with nature, try and go at nature's pace. That's tip number 3. Tip number 4, be mindful. I'm sure you've heard a lot about mindfulness, and it's not as complicated as it might sound. It's not some weird thing. It's actually what the word suggests, just being mindful. So we tend to live our lives, certainly in the West, in a kind of a sense of autopilot. We get through the day, we get to the end, and we say to ourselves, gosh, I don't even know what I was up to today because I was running on autopilot. So mindfulness is just basically turning the autopilot off and paying attention to all of our senses, paying attention to those thoughts that we looked at in tip number 2. I'll give you another illustration. Imagine that you are standing in a station, and as you stand on the platform, you see trains coming into the station and pulling out of the station all the time. The trains stop, the doors open, and then the doors close again and out it goes. It's very easy if you imagine that those trains are your thoughts. It's very easy to watch a train or a thought coming into the station, which is your mind. The doors open and you think to yourself, I've got to get on that train. I have to follow that thought to wherever it leads me. We jump on the train and the train goes out of the station and we just keep riding it to wherever it takes us. Now, mindfulness says, do you know what? Just stay on the station. Just watch the train coming in, watch the doors open, watch the doors close, watch the train pull out. Watch that thought come in, watch it hang around for a while, but sure as eggs is eggs, it will go away again if you just watch it. It'll disappear. That's mindfulness. There are great apps. I'm sure you've heard about some of these apps already. Headspace is a great one. I use an app called Calm, C-A-L-M, Calm, and it gives us the basic essentials of how to be mindful through our lives. So that's number 4, tip number 4. Tip number 5, pray. Now, I don't much care whether you believe in God or a higher power or whatever you believe in, but praying is really valuable. You need to try it. If you haven't done it already, just try it. Hopefully you'll feel that you would try anything to feel better. And praying puts our lives into a much bigger context than just what we can see right now. You know, that the daily grind of getting up and doing stuff and then going back to bed in the evening. Praying makes us understand that there's a much bigger purpose for everything that's going on. So do try it. And if you do pray, this may be difficult if you're in a room with other people, but please try praying out loud. That may sound a bit odd, but when you pray out loud, or even when you talk to yourself, talk out loud, because you're hearing your own voice coming back into your own ears, and it feels like someone is talking to you. It feels like it's somebody else. Whereas if you just pray in your mind, or if you think in your mind, your inside voice just goes bouncing around and you don't really pay much attention to it. So try praying, and try praying out loud. That's tip number 5. There's plenty more I could come up with, but hopefully I really pray that those 5 tips will help you getting through this time. And you will get through it. It may take some time, but I can guarantee you will get through it. It'll take some patience. It'll take some bravery, some courage, and it'll take help from other people. But the light will come back. Thank you.